electromagnetic arm. Then, in our next process, we were supposed to learn about electromagnets. Have you learned something about electromagnets?
Yes.
I'm hoping you learned a lot about electromagnets. Okay? Now, let's look at the next one. Are we planning?
Yes.
This one is hard for me because I always have to think about what am I planning exactly? Abby, stop. What am I planning exactly? What's the plan for?
Planning for the electron.
What's the plan for Tristan?
To make an electromagnetic arm.
Right. You always have to think about the problem. Are you planning a solution to the problem? Okay? Because you planned how to do your variable testing, but was that part of the problem? That wasn't exactly related to the problem. So are we on learn or are we on plan? How many think we're on learn? How many think we're on plan? Have you planned your electromagnetic arm?
I have an idea of what it looks like.
Do you know what your arm is going to look like?
You can make it until you build it.
You won't know until you build it, so have you planned it yet?
No.
No, so you're still learning, but you're getting so close to planning. Okay? So let's have Milas from Galactic Games.
Hey, they finally got it colored in.
What?
The picture.
Oh, yeah. This is from Orion, and Haley and Apollo also got it. And what is the subject of our...
Haley, I didn't know you were the plastic games.
Well, it's spelled a little different.
Okay.
What is the subject of our email today? Plan and design. So what stage are we entering into of our engineering design process? Carol? The planning and designing part. So he says, Orion says, wow, fantastic work. We are getting very close to our deadline. We will need each team to come up with a design plan and build a prototype by the end of the next workday. Along with a detailed picture of your design, you will need to provide a justification for each decision you have made. See the attached document. So, please look at the attached document,
Okay.
which is not the table.
Okay.
I love it. This is what Orion has sent, and I've copied already for you. On this, you need to make sure you put your name. And it's kind of hard to read, so I'll read it for you. Number 1 says you need to make a diagram, a labeled diagram, of what your electromagnetic arm is going to look like. Now, when I say a diagram, I'm talking like this. When I showed you this, could you make that? Were you able to make it?
Yeah.
How come?
Because you labeled it.
I put labels on it, otherwise you might not have known what these lines were. But I put down that they were alligator clips. I put how many coils, I put the gauge of the wire, what was the material of the bolt,
And a
I put the
battery.
battery and the battery holder. So everything that's going to be in your electromagnetic arm needs to be here. Now, please remember that we are creating a prototype of just the arm. We are not in charge of making it go up and down. That is the mechanical engineer's job. We are the electrical engineers, so we are just making the arm that's actually going to pick it up. Okay? Then, number 2, this is the most important part for Orion. He wants to know your justification for why you chose what you did. So, the type of battery, who did that for our groups? Who did A, D, and AA?
Curable.
Okay, so that's our type of battery. So if you decide you want a C battery, you'll write a C here, and then you have to tell me why did you pick that. And you can't say, because I wanted to. Okay, that is not a justification. You actually have to think about why are you choosing that. Do you want it to be the strongest? Yeah, you could say it's the strongest. You could say it's the weakest. You could say it's medium. It's totally up to your group. Now, if you have 4 people at your group, you are actually going to be working with your elbow partner. So you're not working with your 4, you're just working with your 2, okay? If you only have 3 people in your group, then you are working as a group of 3, okay? Wait. Before we can even start this, take a look at our engineering design process again. We are in the plan, but remember how we had all these arrows that went back and forth and all over the place? I want you to, we're not gonna go back necessarily and make a new problem, but we are gonna follow this arrow and go back to the define stage and make sure that we know all of the constraints. What is a constraint? Look at me. What's a constraint?
Rule.
A rule you have to follow. So
Rule
we need
that
to
you
look
must
back. Yeah, exactly. You have to go back to the client letters. The client letters are the very first letters that Orion sent to us, which is right here. I want you to go back and I want you to read this and I want you to look for the rules that Orion wants. Specifically, fifth graders, look for, does Orion want you to create the strongest electromagnet known to man? Okay? When you have decided that, constraint checker, raise your hand. I will come to you. You have to prove your answer to me. Then I will give you these and you can get started on your plan. You have to have your plan done by today. You might say to yourself, Ms. Mock, how am I going to remember what everybody said? I'm hoping you're saying that because that's a lot of information. You don't have to remember because we're going to have all of the big sheets that you just made, we're going to have them out on the carpet. So you're going to have to get your bodies up, Stetson, and come out and look at all of the data and decide what your group is going to do. You are now